What is going on, you guys? Happy draft day and welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see here, presenting my final mock draft of the season for you guys. In this one, I do have full first round. We're going to try and break down, my picks as best as I can, in not too long of a time. But like I said, I did implement some trades in this draft. I think I got about 4 or 5 or so. And yeah, I just really want to just get right into it. We'll go pick my pick, explain my picks here, and yeah, let's get started here. So at one, I have Zachary Ricochet going to the Hawks at number one. Obviously, the stuff with Klingon and then Alex Sarr as well. There are reports that Sarr hasn't worked out for the Hawks at all, and at the some type of interview that he was doing yesterday, he did in fact support that claim that he hasn't worked out for the Hawks yet. To me, I do feel like Ricochet is a nice fit. I feel like he'll fit, pretty good in that front court with Jalen Johnson. And then you got guys like Onyeka Okongwu and Clint Capella. If it was me and I was a Hawks GM, I probably would look to either trade down or get Sarr in the building and draft him. But it's drafted today, so it's kind of too late for that. At two, we have Alex Sarr going to the Wizards. I really do feel like this is a great pick for the Wizards. They need a center. They need a defensive anchor. I like them going with a couple players, but when Sarr falls in your lap, I don't really think that there's too many other options that you can really decide on. I like Reed Shepard. I like Stephon Castle. I even like Dillingham quite a bit, but Alex Sarr's a surefire pick. He's the guy that's going to come in, like I said, anchor defense right away. The offensive game will take some time, to develop, but all in all, I do really like Sarr's potential in this draft. At three, the Houston Rockets here. Luck out and get Reed Shepard. I feel like Reed is just such a nice complementary piece to that young core that they're already building. They did come out and say today that they're actually trying to make a move for Devin Booker or Kevin Durant. Me personally, I would love that, just because I would love that type of shake up, just in the league. And I do feel like, that would turn them into a contender right away. But getting back to the Shepard fit, I just feel like he fits really well next to Fred VanVleet, Amin Thompson, Jalen Green. Obviously, you got a lot of potential there, just with that team in general. Sangoon, Jabari Smith, and Reed Shepard can kind of be that guy after VanVleet moves on, starts to get older. Shepard can sit behind him for a little bit, come off the bench, still provide you with, lots of shooting and defensive upside. So I'm a big fan of Shepard, and I have him going 3 there to the Rockets. At 4, Stephon Castle. I feel like the Spurs just really like Castle, and I do feel like it's a nice fit. He wants to play point guard on a team. He wants to be that main ball handler, that main facilitator. And on the Spurs, I really do think he could do that. I think him and Wemby are going to come in and be a great defensive duo. Off rip, you got Castle on the on ball. When other teams are setting screens, Castle's on ball. Wemby is shading, hedging, and then it's really just a nice defensive duo there. Castle on the perimeter and Wemby on the interior. I really do like Castle's upside in terms of his shot. I do think that his mechanics look really well. It's just a matter of him actually making the shot, So I do like Castle, and I do think that he is worthy of a top 5 pick. At 5, I have my first trade here. So the Detroit Pistons trade down with the Memphis Grizzlies for Donovan Klingon. I really do feel like this would make the Grizzlies into a very deep, if not contender type of playoff team. I love Klingon. I love his potential. He can anchor a defense. He sets the screen very well. Perfect roll man next to Ja, in my opinion. But the details of this trade, I have Memphis receiving the 5th pick, and then I have Detroit trading down 2-9 and then moving up in the second round to 39. And then they also acquire Marcus Smart to back up Cade, to play the shooting guard position when Ivy's not there. And I do like this trade a lot for both teams, because I feel like the Grizzlies get a lot better, and so does Detroit. There's a couple different options you could do. Detroit can either get Marcus Smart and just the 9th pick and a 2nd pick this year, or you could do something like a Luke Kennard, and then Detroit gets the Grizzlies' 1st round pick maybe next year. Maybe they pair together a 1st and a 2nd rounder instead of Smart and do Kennard instead. But this is what I decided on. I just feel like that this really does help both teams in the long run. I feel like the Grizzlies have quite a bit of guards to be able to support this move, and getting Klingon in the building would really just be great for that franchise. I really do believe so. At 6, I have the Hornets taking Matas Buzelis. I feel like Stefan Castle's a good fit here, but in terms of just how the board fell, I feel like Matas is a super good value pick. You can put him at the forward spot next to Brandon Miller. I feel like with LaMelo, with Brandon Miller, and with anybody else you can kind of bring in from free agency that can shoot the ball, you can hide Buzelis' shooting woes. I feel like he's going to come in right away and be a willing defender. He has a nice handle for someone his size. He can block shots very well. So it really is a nice fit. And I also see Miles Bridges potentially leaving in free agency. So I do feel like Buzelis can come in and be his replacement pretty much right away. And I really do like Buzelis' upside. I wouldn't mind it if my Pistons took him at 5, but it is something about the shot that you do have to develop. Like I said, the playmaking seems to be there, the ball handling, and the defensive upside is really tremendous. So I do like Buzelis, but I had him slipping here in this mock just a little bit. At 7, I have the Trailblazers taking Dalton Connect. I just feel like with this young core as it stands right now, you kind of have a logjam at the guard spot. You got Anthony Simons, you got Scoot Henderson. It's a fine line within, what are you going to do with Simons? Do you move him to the 2 guard, let Scoot take over the point guard duties right away. And that's why I feel like Connect just kind of fits into this team right away, because I do like Shaden Sharp quite a bit, but I just feel like when you get a surefire scorer like Connect, to come in to the city of Portland right away and just be able to score the ball, shoot it lights out. Portland really needs shooting. I'm pretty sure that they were the worst shooting team in the whole entire NBA. So for Connect to come in and be able to, translate that right from college to the NBA, be able to just, shoot the leather off the ball, I really do feel like it will help the development for the Trailblazers. At 8 here, the Spurs. I have them selecting Cody Williams. I know that they brought him in for a couple pre-draft workouts. They are showing interest in him, and I wouldn't put it past Cody to show interest back. I mean, to be on a team with Wemby and now Stephon Castle will just be a great fit. I do feel like he has great defensive upside, and I do believe in the shot. I know he didn't take too many threes, but the form looks really good. He can get to the basket, swiftly. The only thing with him is just confidence, and I do feel like he can develop into a pretty nice 2 guard in the NBA. He's a guy that doesn't need the ball in his hands all the time, and when you got a guy like Stephon Castle to be able to, relieve him of some of them duties, I really do feel like this is a good fit there for the Spurs. At 9, this is from the Memphis trade here. The Detroit Pistons go with Ron Holland. I would like them to get a guy like Cody Williams or a guy like Connect with a trade down. But in this draft, it just didn't work out. They end up with Ron Holland. I still really love Ron Holland's potential. A lot of people have him anywhere from top 5 to bottom 15 in their big boards. So it really is interesting to figure out how he's going to project in the NBA. I do love the athleticism. I think the defensive upside is no doubt there. The only thing is the turnovers and the shooting. So like I said, with my Pistons trading down here, it's a fine line with who you go with, because obviously this team needs shooting, but this team also needs defense. I feel like him and Azor would just be a great front court there on the defensive end. 2 lengthy guys, uber athletic, just, can jump out the gym, rim runners. So I do like the fit here with Holland, and I would really love it if we could trade down to get him at 9 and acquire Marcus Smart and another pick there. So he's the pick there at 9. At 10, I have another big trade in the NBA. I have Cleveland receiving the 10th pick and Minnesota's 2025 pick, and then the Jazz's 2029 first round pick. So obviously the Jazz have a ton of first round picks from the Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert trades. And then I have Utah receiving pick 20, so they trade all the way down to 20, and then they acquire Darius Garland to run their one spot from here on out. You can move Keontae George to the 2, where I feel like it's, more of a comfortable position for him. Colin Sexton can become available in trade talks. I know a lot of guys on Utah are available, so you make Colin Sexton expendable and you bring in Topic. Topic may miss some of the rookie season here coming up, but I do buy the potential. I think he's just an old school, true point guard, great facilitator, nice length on him. And I think he has all the potential in the world. You bring him into a situation like Cleveland where he doesn't have to come in right away and, you don't have to rush his development. He can learn from a guy like Donovan Mitchell. And I really like the fit. I know it's a crazy trade, but that's what we're doing in this mock draft. We're getting kind of crazy. So I do love the fit there for Topic at 10. At 11, I have the Bulls going with something more chalky. I've been seeing this more and more. Obviously, they just lost Alex Caruso. They brought in Josh Giddey. Don't love that trade for them, but I don't hate it. I do understand sort of from a point of view, where they were coming from. There was reports that OKC was offering them number 12. I do feel like that was probably a little bit of a better offer, and I think that you probably could have gotten something more for Caruso. But what you do here is you bring in Devin Carter. He's pretty much your Caruso replacement. He's a decent shooter and a great defender. He can pass the ball. 6'2" guard. You bring him into a group with Ayo Dosunmu, Lonzo Ball, Kobe White, etc. And I do feel like you can start to build something. Obviously, we don't know where the Bulls are heading. Are they going to trade LaVine? Are they going to trade LaVine? Are they going to bring back DeMar DeRozan? We really don't know at this point, but I do feel like Devin Carter would be a good starting point for them. At 12 here, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder going with Tijan Salon. I could see them going with a guy like a Tristan da Silva, but in the past, OKC has gone with these project-type picks, and I do like the fit here. They need a backup big next to Chet. They need someone there who can either come in when Chet needs to come out or just someone to play next to Chet. I really do buy Salone's hype. Do I think he's going to be this all-NBA, all-star type of player? No, but I do buy the shot. I think his defensive potential and his athleticism are there, but he is going to need time to develop. We're not going to see him in 2 to 3 years burst onto the scene. I really believe that. I do think that you need to take your time with this guy, and all in all, I think OKC is, one of the perfect teams to do that. At 13, I have one of my favorite fits in this draft, and that's Jared McCain going to the Kings. I know that they brought Malik Monk back, but there was reports a couple days ago that De'Aaron Fox is hesitant to sign back. Obviously, I think that kind of relies on next year and how the Kings are. But I really like the fit with McCain. I think McCain's a great shooter. I think he's going to come into the NBA and be a great shooter right away. The thing with his defense that I see is that he tries, and sometimes on a team that's all you can really ask for, and usually guys do develop on the defensive end when they do give effort and when they do try. I think he looked great at Duke. He looked great in the tournament, and I do buy him as a lottery pick. I really like Jared McCain. I think he's one of my favorite prospects in this draft. I like the pairing next to DeAndre Fox and Malik Monk. I think he can come in and be a DeAndre Fox replacement. If DeAndre does leave, De'Aaron Fox. I don't know why I got Ayton on the mind. But I do think that he can come in and be a De'Aaron Fox replacement. If he does leave, I really do buy the shot, and I buy the defensive potential. I think he's just a score-first guard who can come off the bench for you, right away. And if the Kings can, somehow sneak into the playoffs, with the core of De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray, Malik Monk, obviously Domantas Sabonis, I think McCain's going to play some really important minutes there in the playoffs for them. At 14, I have another huge trade here. So I've been seeing a lot of Brandon Ingram trades, and I can't gauge his, his value. I really can't. I don't know. He's on the last year of his deal. There's not a guarantee that he's going to sign back to your team if you do trade him. So I have the Pelicans trading up with the Portland Trailblazers. I have New Orleans receiving number 14 and 34, and then I have them receiving Malcolm Brogdon and Chris Murray. I just think that being able to bring in a point guard for this Pelicans team is very important. Obviously, they get Brogdon as well, and then they get a nice bench piece in Chris Murray. I know it's not too much, but like I said, I can't gauge the value on Brandon Ingram. I think that the Trailblazers bring in Ingram, like I said, to accelerate the development of Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, etc. You can pair him, next to a Jeremy Grant, next to a DeAndre Ayton, and you can be looking at a play-in team there. I don't think that they're giving up too much, and I don't think that the Pelicans are getting too less back, I guess. They get Rob Dillingham here at number 14, a score first guard. He's going to be able to come in and, pair really well with McCollum and Zion right away. If a center was here for them that I really liked, I would have took him. I feel like Khalil Ware could be in contention if they do trade up or something like this. But I just didn't want Dillingham to fall out of the lottery. I really like Dillingham, and I really do buy the upside on him. At 15, I have the Miami Heat selecting Isaiah Collier. I really just think that they need a point guard. This past season, they were playing Tyler Hero at the point guard quite a bit, but he's just not a guy that's going to get the ball around as much as you would like him to. I really do buy the upside on Collier. I feel like he can share the ball. The thing with him is he's just very inconsistent. Some games he can go off, and some games he's kind of in the shadows and whatnot. So it's kind of a boomer bust pick. But I feel like when you put him on a team that is as good as Miami, he can really thrive, and he can really, develop next to guys like Jimmy Butler, next to guys like Tyler Hero and whatnot. So I do like the fit there for Isaiah Collier on the Heat. At 16, I have the Philadelphia 76ers going out and get a two-guard. They get Jacoby Walter. I think he's going to be able to come in, knock down threes right away, and play in the defensive end quite a bit. I feel like he pairs very well next to the guys that they already got there. He's going to be able to play with Embiid, with Tyrese Maxey. They're probably losing Tobias Harris, so you can bring in a guy that can play the two, that can play the three. And I do feel like he'll be pretty impactful on the offensive end, at least, right away for them. At 17, I have the Los Angeles Lakers going with Khalil Ware, one of my favorite prospects in this draft class. I think he is actually very underrated. I love the length. I love how he can pretty much just kind of do anything. Anthony Davis says that he wants to play more power forward, and I don't think that there's really a better fit here than Khalil Ware. I think, he can come in, shoot the three ball right away. He can rebound. He can play interior defense, and I do think that he'll pair very well next to Anthony Davis there in that front court. At 18, I have another trade here. Knicks fans might not be too happy with this, but I'm buying the hype on Zach Edey. I think that he's going to be able to come in and be a great interior defender right away. He's going to be able to rebound the ball. He'll be able to play make in and out of the post, more in the post, obviously, but he'll be able to, come in, hit tough shots down low. He's very tall. He can rebound the ball. Obviously, they just traded for Mikal Bridges yesterday, so what do they do with a Hartenstein? Precious Achiuwa doesn't wow me too much. And then, obviously, Mitchell Robinson has been in trade talks for forever. So they move up to 18, and they give up 24 and 25. I really like this trade for both teams. I just feel like Orlando can use a couple more pieces. And the Knicks, when you really think about it, they're only going to be able to play 8 to 9 guys, in a night. That's what Tibbs does. I think Zach Edey brings that mindset, that toughness that Tibbs likes. So I like this fit here, whether he comes in and plays a backup role, if they retain, Mitchell Robinson or Isaiah Hartenstein. I just think that he's going to be able to come in and play great interior defense right away and be able to rebound the ball. So Knicks going with Zach Edey there at number 18. At 19, I have the Toronto Raptors going with a more popular pick. This is one that I see quite a bit in Bub Carrington. I think he's going to be able to come in and score the ball right away as an 18-year-old, or excuse me, a 19-year-old. He played the college season as an 18-year-old. I just think he's going to be able to come in and, be a microwave scorer right away. I can see him averaging 15 to 16 points his rookie year, This is a Toronto team that really just needs talent at this point. They got good pieces in Scotty Barnes. They traded for Emmanuel quickly last year, but I don't think that stops them from going out and trying to find a more solidified franchise point guard. Quickly is obviously very nice off the bench as well. So I like the fit here with Bub Carrington, and I feel like he could thrive on this Raptors team. At 20, this comes from the Cavs trade. I just see the Jazz going out and getting a solid NBA player right away that they know is going to come in, be able to rebound the ball, be able to score the ball at 6'8". He's a guy that I think has a super high floor in this draft, and I don't think he really has too low, of a ceiling. But I do think he just has a super high floor. He's gonna be able to come in, shoot the ball, be able to help out Keontae George, help out Darius Garland now that they've acquired him in this mock draft. Play next to Laurie, play next to Walker Kessler, and that's a nice starting five in my opinion. I really like that. I think this is a guy that, like I said, he's not too much of a risk, and he can come in and have a super high floor. So I really like Tristan da Silva in this draft class. At 21 here, the Pelicans, I have them going with Yves Missy here. A guy that I think will fit really well on this team. I think the Pelicans just really do need a new franchise center. They have Jonas Valanciunas, but how long is he going to be there for, going forward? Just add more pieces after the Brandon Ingram trade. And I do buy the upside on Yves Missy here. So have him going 21 there to the Pelicans. At 22, I just feel like the Suns need to get more solidified talent on this roster. Tyler Kolek, oh my gosh, Tyler Kolek is a guy that's going to come in, be able to play make right away. He's an older player, going to be able to come in and fit the, how would you say, I guess you could say the narrative of this team, of just being, more mature, more older, obviously. The Suns want to make a deep playoff run, and they want a guy that's going to be able to come in to their franchise and be able to win now. Kolek can do a little bit of everything. He's a little bit of a smaller guard, but, he can shoot the ball. He can play make real well, and this is a guy that if the Suns were to snag him, I wouldn't be surprised if he was their starting point guard by the end of the season. So I really like Tyler Kolek. At 23 here, the Bucks just add some shooting here with Johnny Furphy. Real young player. He's a guy that's going to be able to come in, come off the bench, shoot the ball, give them some microwave buckets here and there. So I do like Furphy here, and I like him going, at the later end of the draft to help out these teams that are already super solidified and already playoff teams. So I like Johnny Furphy a lot in this draft class. Do I think he has supreme upside? No. But I feel like he's going to be able to come in and just shoot the ball real well right away. At 24 here, this comes from the New York Knicks trade. I have Tyler Smith, the center here out of G League Ignite. They have him here as a small forward, but he's more of a tweener. He's more of a power forward center. And I just feel like Orlando can look for one of those. They obviously have Wendell Carter Jr., but they're on the brisk of going deep in the playoffs, in my opinion. Paolo is progressing tremendously. They have nice pieces there in Anthony Black, Cole Anthony. So I like what Orlando is building. And I just figured with these two picks here, Tyler Smith and Bailey Shireman, I think Shireman's going to be able to come in right away, like I said, and shoot the ball, like really shoot the ball. This guy, it's what he does. It's his calling card. It's what Bailey Shireman does. And teams, in my opinion, can't get enough shooting. If you can bring a guy in off the bench and play him 18 to 20 minutes a game, and he gives you 2 to 3 threes a game, and gives you clutch buckets, when you really need them. That's what playoff teams are made of, is great shooting and great defense. And in my opinion, this is what the Orlando Magic are getting here in these two players. At 26, I have the Washington Wizards taking Keyshawn George. I just feel like this is more of an upside play. The Wizards are going in a nice direction. They're building a very nice young team. I think Keyshawn George can come in. He is going to need 2 to 3 years to develop. But when you look at, how he scores the ball, how he can shoot the ball, his size, especially for how young he is, I do like his fit here on Washington. I like what they're building, whether they trade Kuzma, whether they, make other guys expendable. But I like their young core. I like Denny Avdija. I like Kaishan George, Alex Sarr, obviously now, Jordan Poole. You can make him expendable as well, or you can keep him on the team. So I do. I like the fit there for Kaishan George there at 26. At 27 here, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves going with Kyle Filipowski. It was a toss-up. I didn't know if I wanted to give them more shooting. I don't know if I wanted to give them a point guard. I could see AJ Mitchell there, who I have going 29. So maybe I should have done that, but I just feel like Filipowski's a little bit underrated. I think that he's going to be a good shooter in the NBA. I think he's going to be a good rebounder. He's a willing defender. Do I think he's going to be some surefire starter who becomes an all-star? No, but I love his floor. I feel like he's going to be, like I said, able to shoot the ball. He can come in when you need him and be on that bench unit with a Naz Reid, be in the front court with Karl Anthony Towns, with Rudy Gobert, with Jaden McDaniels, So I do. I like Filipowski a lot, and I think he's becoming almost a little bit underrated in this draft. At 28, I have Deron Holmes here going to the Denver Nuggets. They do have a draft promise for Deron Holmes, I've heard. So I do like the fit. I like him next to Aaron Gordon. I feel like he could play off Jokic real well. He's super athletic. He reminds me kind of like, it's kind of a mix between like an Isaiah Stewart and a Miles Turner. The shooting needs refinement, but at the same time, like I said, super athletic. He knows how to get to the paint. He knows how to get up and put the ball above the rim. So I do. I like Deron Holmes a lot. He's a smaller tweener there in terms of power forward and center, but I do. I like him on a team like the Nuggets, like the Celtics, like these later teams here in the first round, and I buy his upside quite a bit. AJ Mitchell here going to the Jazz. I just feel like he could come in and come off the bench for them. Obviously, they can make Sexton expendable. Like I mentioned before, I think Keontae George is more of a shooting guard, in my opinion, especially just with how inconsistent he can be and just with his, playmaking, his questionable playmaking. So I think that AJ Mitchell can come in and be a benchmark for them. Obviously, they gained Darius Garland in this, and they'll have him for a couple years. Like I said, Colin Sexton can become expendable. And with this pick and the rest of their picks, I really do. I like what the Jazz are building. I like Taylor Hendricks. I love Lauri Markkanen, obviously. And yeah, I mean, I do. I buy their young potential there, and I really do feel as though Danny Ainge is doing a great job there out in Utah. Last pick in the first round, I had the Celtics taking PJ Hall. Really, he's just a solidified guy who's going to be able to come in and play some decent minutes for you. Obviously, they got Al Horford, and he'll probably be their starter for, 1 to 3 more years. Obviously, he's getting up there. So, you get a nice bench piece here, and PJ Hall, all in all, whoever the Celtics take here at number 30 probably won't be seeing too many minutes. But I do feel like center is probably the position that they could, use the most help on. So I ended up going with PJ Hall here, the center, defensive minded center who's going to come in and, do pretty much the right thing all the time. Can rebound the ball, can put the ball in the basket, with his back to the basket. So I like that pick. And that will actually round up our mock draft here, the final mock draft of the season. Let me know what you guys think. I'm super excited for draft day. It's today. It's in about 5 hours or so. So excited to see what my Pistons do. I really appreciate you guys watching. I will have in-season content here for the NFL, for the NBA. It's something that I want to do more and more of. So like I said, I really do appreciate you guys watching. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.